WINS, WINS-FM in HD1 New York. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
More people get their news from 1010 Wins than from any other radio station in the nation. Martin Untroib is our writer, Sarah Milano at the editor's desk, and I'm Ashok Kabbalah.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM, New York.
Good afternoon, 74 degrees and sunshine at 4 o'clock. I'm Donna Vaughn, and here's what's happening. Great weather today for traveling and for just about anything else. The unofficial end to summer 2025 includes a great forecast. We'll check in live shortly with AccuWeather. A stabbing on the subway and a shooting outside a church.
It's sad. It's just tired of it.
The weekend shaping up to be another violent one in the Bronx. We're waiting for a cause of death from the medical examiner after someone died yesterday at Kings County Criminal Court in Brooklyn while in police custody. A setback for the Trump administration after a judge rules that many expedited deportations aren't legal, especially for those taken into ICE custody outside immigration courts. And two world-class swimmers arrested for alleged shoplifting after the World Championships in Singapore. They're finally on their way home to Italy now. Well, the Mets home to the Marlins this afternoon. First pitch only about 10 minutes from now. Then tonight, the Yankees will visit the White Sox. The Liberty have a game in Phoenix. Wins News Time 4:01. Let's get you where you need to go with Andre Ferro.
Problems in New Jersey if you're traveling on the northbound side of the Garden State Parkway. This is over by exit 136. There's debris all over the road. Looks like some tires maybe. As I'm looking at the camera, two right lanes are blocked and delays are kicking in. Better news on 17. That crash on 17 where we had all lanes closed is now clear. So good news there. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. We're 20 minutes in at the George Washington Bridge. 25 on the outbound side when you count the cross Bronx delays. Using the Lincoln Tunnel right now, wow, it's wide open round trip. Maybe you need 10 minutes on both sides, and mostly that is the approaches. And the right of the Holland Tunnel is about 15 round trip. The northbound FDR is fine. It's southbound in Manhattan. That's slow heading down towards that area of 23rd Street. You do have delays heading south of the Harlem River Drive, passing the Triborough by exit 17. More problems in Queens. The Jackie Robinson is terrible. Eastbound as you travel between Woodhaven Boulevard and the Q. The LIE, very bad. Eastbound right around Main Street, heading towards the Clearview. Looks like we have a stall there, knocking out a lane. And big delays on the Belt Parkway in Brooklyn. Eastbound Flatbush Avenue to Cross Bay Boulevard. You'll need that extra time. Andre Ferro, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
The last unofficial weekend of summer 2025 is shaping up to be one of our best, especially if you don't care for humidity. Here now with the good word, AccuWeather meteorologist Matt Benz in this live report. Matt?
And a good hair weekend here across the area with that low humidity and light winds generally here across the area. This weather likely to stick around here for not only this weekend, but through the middle of next week. Tomorrow, more sunshine. We're looking at temperatures in the upper 70s. We're right back there again for Monday, Labor Day. Perhaps a few more afternoon clouds. Highs remain in the upper 70s in this dry stretch of weather through at least Wednesday. But if you are looking for some rain, have to wait a while. Thursday, Friday will be our next best chance here across the tri-state. Donna?
All right, Matt. Now, everyone knows by now that traveling on a holiday weekend can be dicey no matter how you're getting from here to there. But with great weather like this, well, there is no stopping us.
The TSA expects nearly 17.5 million people at its checkpoints through Wednesday. AAA says domestic airfare, hotels, and car rental prices are all down compared to this time last year. And drivers are enjoying lower prices at the pump, matching summer averages from 2021.
Correspondent Christine Lazar, things appear to be on track at Newark right now for the most part. The airport has been plagued by equipment and staffing issues all summer. FAA equipment problems led to that ground stop on Thursday. Hundreds of flight delays as a result. The TSA recommends that you arrive 2 hours early for domestic flights and 3 hours ahead of an international flight, no matter which airport you happen to be using. Well, not a great start to the holiday weekend in the Bronx, where there was a stabbing in the subway this morning. It happened at the St. Lawrence Avenue 6 train station after an argument. The NYPD says they have 3 people in custody, and the teenage victim is now stable. Only a few hours before that, a triple shooting outside a church about 3 miles away on Marion Avenue near East Fordham Road. 3 people were wounded, but no arrests yet in that case. Bronx residents say the violence needs to stop.
It's sad. It's just tired of it. It's just guns available everywhere.
Mayor Adams announcing earlier this week that the NYPD is deploying 1,000 additional officers in the Bronx to stem gun violence. That follows a string of shootings in recent days. Well, the NYPD now trying to figure out how someone died while in police custody Friday night. It happened at the Kings County Criminal Court, where a 46-year-old man was found unconscious in a holding cell. Investigators aren't yet ready to say if he may have had a health issue. They're waiting to hear a possible cause of death from the chief medical examiner about that. The man's name has not been released yet. This is the 11th person to die so far this year while in city custody or shortly after being released. So what better way to wrap up the summer than with some beautiful weather and the West Indian Junior Carnival Parade in Brooklyn? It's a lead up to the big Juve event and parade on Monday.
There's an eventful weekend ahead for the Caribbean community, and who better to kick it off than the kids?
I love you. I've been here since I was 3. How old are you now? I'm 8.
Yep, that's Ava, who, like so many other chiclets here, have been passed down the West Indian throne since they were toddlers. But the days of fete, costumes, and togetherness, they have meaning. Here's Sapphire with Trinidadian roots breaking it down.
It's about heritage. It's about connecting back to our roots, the things that set us free. It's a rebellion against the machine.
And believe me, the kiddies rocked it. Their stamina, smiles, and excitement, it's worth seeing next year. Amanda Alexander, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM here at Kiddie Carnival in Brooklyn.
About 1 million people expected in Brooklyn on Monday for the annual West Indian Day Parade. Mayor Adams says the NYPD will have the largest police deployment of the year for the event to keep things safe, prompted by violence along the route in recent years. With a $1 billion weather forecast this weekend in the tri-state, folks are feeling pretty rich, but someone could win an actual $1 billion before the day is out.
TikTok reminded me.
Nobody won Powerball again.
That means the jackpot for tonight's drawing is $1 billion.
I bought my first Powerball ticket today.
And everyone is fantasizing about what they would do if they won.
Obviously, we pay off the house. We pay our credit card debt.
But money doesn't buy happiness, right?
The Powerball is at $1 billion right now. Let me win that, and I'm going to show y'all how happy somebody can be with some money.
It's the 6th time the jackpot has hit the $1 billion mark in the game's 33-year history.
And that is correspondent Stacey Lynn with that report. Stick with 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. We will have the winning numbers as soon as they're polled shortly before 11 tonight. A federal judge has pulled the plug on expedited deportations, dealing a blow to a signature policy of the Trump administration. Speedy deportations are nothing new, but before President Trump took office, it was typically reserved only for those who were still near the border after recently crossing. The judge ruled that expanding the policy to pretty much all migrants was a violation of due progress, which isn't only for American citizens, he said in a strongly worded opinion. Expedited removals have caused controversy at immigration courthouses around the country, where migrants are routinely being grabbed by ICE agents after their cases are dismissed. The new ruling doesn't prevent courthouse arrests, but says migrants can't be quickly deported without being allowed to plead their case first. Well, at least 6 survivors are still in the hospital after the gun massacre at a Catholic school in Minneapolis this week. Many of the victims were youngsters, including 2 children who were killed when a man fired more than 100 bullets through the stained glass window of the church during a mass.
More prayers and candles in Minnesota overnight, but this time at Annunciation Church, where 2 children were killed and 18 others wounded.
Where in the world can you go that should be safer than praying in a church? There should not be a safer place than that.
Little white crosses here now bear the names Fletcher and Harper, the 8 and 10-year-olds who were killed Wednesday, as letters from children reassure friends they are not alone.
Correspondent Lana Zack with that report. 74 degrees, sunshine in Midtown. Just ahead here on 1010 Wins, a major airline has filed for bankruptcy for the 2nd time in a year. First, Wins News Time 4:11. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Andre Farrow.
And we have trouble in Queens if you're traveling on the eastbound LIE. This is right by Francis Lewis Boulevard. There's a crash knocking out the left lane. Thank you, Liam, for checking in. On the traffic tip line at 844-JAM-1010, and that's why you're tapping the brakes there. It's been a tough go of it in Queens on the Jackie Robinson Parkway. Very slow eastbound between Woodhaven Boulevard and the Kew Gardens interchange. More delays east and west on the Grand Central right by Jewel Avenue. If you want to use the Grand Central as opposed to the LIE approaching Francis Lewis Boulevard, that's moving a little bit better, but there are some slight delays there trying to get to the Nassau border. Speaking of Long Island, here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three. We have an eastbound stall right around Shelter Rock Road on the LIE, slowing you down. Southern State Parkway is busy eastbound over by Eagle Avenue, heading towards the Wantagh. Once you clear the Wantagh area, you should be in pretty good shape. There are delays on the Meadowbrook Parkway southbound right by Old Country Road as you pass Roosevelt Field Mall. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Inbound George Washington Bridge, about 20 on the outbound side, too. It's mostly across Bronx delays. Lincoln Tunnel and Holland Tunnel, just about 10 minutes round trip with the Lincoln, 15 if you're going to use the Lincoln instead. Traffic is sponsored by Made in Cookware. Some of the finest dishes in restaurants around the world are made in Cookware. Not surprising, since Made in is crafted by chefs, for chefs, and designed for restaurants and home kitchen alike. Discover all their cookware at madeincookware.com. Andre Ferro, 1010 wins at 92.3 FM.
Let's go now to the AccuWeather 4-day forecast and get the latest on this beautiful holiday weekend weather. Here is meteorologist Matt Benz.
Pretty quiet out there. Area of high pressure will be in command of our weather pattern not only for today, but tomorrow and into Monday, and back a good chunk of next week as well, with fairly quiet conditions. Tonight, mainly clear, going down to a low of 60 in Midtown, upper 40s and 50s on most suburbs. But still a jacket may be needed here later on tonight. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine. Beautiful day once again, high 78. Monday, not bad for Labor Day. Sunny to partly cloudy, remaining comfortable. High again of 78 degrees. And sunshine and some afternoon clouds Tuesday, high 79. Right now, it's 75 degrees in Central Park with a relative humidity at just 28%. Repeating, the current temperature is 75, falling down to 60 tonight in Midtown. Meteorologist Matt Benz, New York's weather station, 1010 wins 92.3 FM.
Bankruptcy for Spirit Airlines again. It is the second time in less than a year the carrier has filed for bankruptcy protection.
The no-frills airline will still fly as it restructures its debt again. Spirit cites what it calls adverse market conditions. Jackie Gifford is the editor-in-chief of Travel and Leisure.
Budget travel, people that are more cost-sensitive, they have been cutting back a little bit, and that's what you're seeing with Spirit.
The airline has struggled since the pandemic. In its Chapter 11 filing last November, Spirit said it had lost more than $2.5 billion since 2020. It may have to sell some of its planes and real estate.
Spirit currently operates more than 5,000 flights to 88 destinations. That was correspondent Michael Wallace. 75 degrees and sunshine. It is gorgeous outside in Midtown. Well, a little drama for two world-class swimmers arrested after the World Championships in Singapore earlier this month. The pair, both from Italy, were detained by airport officials on the island nation for alleged shoplifting. Benedetta Pilato and Chiara Tarantino were later released, according to the Italian Swimming Federation, after their nation's embassy intervened. But according to an Italian newspaper, Tarantino stole some items and put them in Pilato's suitcase. The Federation condemned the arrests, but says they reserve the right to carefully evaluate what happened, and presumably they could take action of their own against the swimmers if they think it's warranted. Pilato won bronze at Worlds in the 50-meter breaststroke. She finished just out of medal contention last year in the 100 breast at the Paris Olympics. 50 years after it was first released, one of the biggest hits for Queen and the late Freddie Mercury has been given a new approach.
This is the Ndlovu Youth Choir, a township group from South Africa, singing Bohemian Rhapsody in a mix of English and Zulu. It's the first translation of Freddie Mercury's masterpiece ever to be approved by the surviving members of his group, Queen. Freddie Mercury once said, "Do what you want with my music, just don't make it boring." Job done.
The choir's artistic director calls their version of Bohemian Rhapsody an homage to the original. That was correspondent Vicky Barker. This year's Weekend Survive concert sold out in just a few hours after we announced the pre-sale, but we have a pair of tickets for you to see Shabuzi, the Goo Goo Dolls, and Ed Sheeran. Just go to 1010wins.com/contests to enter.
All news, all the time. This is is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
75 degrees and beautiful outside. Good afternoon. I'm Donna Vaughn. And here's what's happening. More violence in the Bronx this weekend. A shooting and a stabbing already, despite a surge of 8,000 extra police officers in the borough. A baby girl is in critical condition after she was found badly beaten in a home in the Bronx this week. And now a teenager is charged with assault in the case. A federal appeals court has slapped down President Trump's claim that he can tariff anything he wants whenever he wants. But those new import taxes remain in place for now. Perfect beach weather this weekend, but a number of beaches up and down the East Coast are telling visitors not to swim because of poopy water. That is a quote. An Artist of the Year nominee, Lady Gaga, will take the stage on Long Island next week at the MTV Video Music Awards. More ahead on that in 1010 Wins Entertainment. Well, the Mets in Miami at Citi Field this afternoon. Tonight, the Yankees at Chicago to take on the White Sox, while the Liberty visit the Phoenix Mercury. AccuWeather says clear skies and low 62 tonight after we close out the afternoon with sunshine. More of the same straight through Labor Day. Wins News Time 421. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Andre Farrow.
And no fun in New Jersey if you're traveling northbound on the Garden State Parkway. There's a debris spill over by exit 136. You have 2 lanes knocked out. Again, it's northbound over by exit 136. And that is why you are tapping the brakes. You might want to hop on 27 if you can, or if that works for you. If you're traveling in the George Washington Bridge, here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. 20 minutes in, 20 minutes out. Really not terrible. It's the Cross Bronx that's causing most of the outbound delays. The northbound Deegan is slow heading up towards the area of the 3rd Avenue Bridge. And southbound there's a stall right by the McCombs Dam Bridge on the southbound Deegan, passing the McCombs Dam Bridge, so you have that to work on. If you're using the Lincoln Tunnel inbound, around 15 minutes. It's mostly 495 delays. 15 minutes on both sides of the Holland Tunnel. Working on that crash eastbound LIE in Queens, right by Francis Lewis Boulevard. You have westbounders going by taking a peek. Now we have a trouble spot in Nassau County. Here's what we see on Long Island's Big 3. It's a stall heading towards Shelter Rock Road. You're tapping the brakes right around Lakeville Road. Go with the Northern State Parkway if you're driving a regular car. Eastbound Southern, you're slow from about that Eagle Avenue area, heading out toward the Wantaw. There's some volume. Andre Farrow, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
The NYPD deployed 1,000 extra police officers in the Bronx this weekend after a string of shootings in the borough in recent days. Despite that, 2 more shocking encounters to report, putting 3 people in the hospital.
Violence in the Bronx not slowing down, and residents feel...
enough is enough.
Just outside a church Friday night, 2 men shot in the leg, another grazed in the back of his head. They're all stable. Now, Alex works at a deli just across the street.
I hear it like before I close, maybe 5, maybe 6, I don't know.
5 to 6 gunshots, that is. Both suspects on the loose. But in a separate incident just 10 minutes away, a teenager stabbed on the train after an argument. He's stable. Police have arrested 3 people. Tyrone says this is all.
It's sad. It's just tired of it.
Amanda Alexander, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in the Bronx.
Well, investigators tell us there was an argument before the stabbing, but it's not clear if the young victim and the 3 suspects knew each other. Police are still searching for 2 suspects who fled after the shooting. The NYPD reports an arrest in a shocking assault in the Melrose section of the Bronx this week. The victim is just a little baby. 19-year-old Jerome Thomas lives in the home on Union Avenue where the 1-year-old girl was found badly beaten on Thursday night. He's been charged with assault and endangering the welfare of a child. The baby girl is now in critical but stable condition, we're told. No word yet of her relationship with the suspect, if any. Well, COVID cases and hospitalizations are on the rise, especially in parts of the country where kids have gone back to school already. New numbers show COVID cases have doubled in the past 2 months. At the same time, there's growing confusion over who's eligible for the latest version of the COVID vaccine and where they can get it.
Changes to vaccine policy fueling turmoil at the CDC. Just days after the FDA approved the COVID vaccine for this fall, only for Americans over 65 and adults and younger people at high risk. But a critical CDC panel is not expected to give their recommendation for several more weeks. The White House insists the vaccine will still be available for all Americans who want it, but pressed on whether insurance will continue to cover it, the White House sidestepping.
Correspondent Selena Wong, the latest data from the Centers for Disease Control says about 200 Americans a week have been dying from COVID complications in recent months, although hospitalization rates are actually lower than they were at this time last year. One exciting event in Brooklyn this weekend for children of the 90s when one of the most popular shows for preteens was the Nick sitcom Kenan and Kel. The characters worked at a fast food joint called Good Burger, you might recall. So today, star Kel Mitchell is hosting his first ever Kel's Burger Fest. He tells 1010 Wins it's a burger bonanza.
We got some amazing burgers here in New York. Support all these businesses, y'all. Support them all. This is another reason why we're doing this too, as well, to put some eyes on these amazing businesses. So that's going to make us all here, because when you take that bite, you're just going to be like,
Kel's Burger Fest happening today at BK Backyard Barbecue in Williamsburg. Now Bloomberg Money Watch.
The single-family home market has been stuck in the slow lane for the past 2 years. Daryl Fairweather is the chief economist at Redfin.
A lot of buyers just aren't feeling like now is the right time to commit to a really big purchase.
Ansley Stokes, a Washington, D.C. area realtor.
For sellers looking back over the past 5 years and watching how quickly everything sold, and it seemed like everybody who listed a house got multiple offers and the sellers got everything that they were looking for. And so now all of a sudden sellers feel very beat up.
I'm Tracy Jonke, Bloomberg Money Watch on 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
Gorgeous weather this afternoon. More where that came from tomorrow and Monday. Details ahead from AccuWeather. Winds News Time 4:30.
Good afternoon, I'm Ashok Bala. Big money for a Little League bat flipped in a game.
New Jersey Little Leaguer Marco Rocco hit a homer in the tournament and flipped his bat before he rounded the bases. That flip resulted in an ejection and a suspension that would have kept him out of the first game of the state tournament. But his dad took Little League to court and won, so he got to play.
It was ecstatic. It was a great feeling to see how happy he was.
That bat just sold at auction for nearly $10,000. The proceeds will be donated to the Haddonfield Little League.
Stacy Lynn reporting the incident was also commemorated with a pin available at the Little League World Series. Wins News Time 4:31. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Andre Farrow.
Trouble on Long Island. Here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three. Eastbound LIE by Shelter Rock Road. Looks like a crash in the HOV lane. Cars are going by very slow as you pass Lakeville Road, and then westbounders have to take a peek. You have delays that go back to Glen Cove Road. If you're driving a regular car, go to the Northern State. Moving way better. And the eastbound Southern, you're slow from Eagle Avenue to at least the Seaford Oyster Bay. You'll be tapping the brakes. In Queens, not so fast. Eastbound LIE by Francis Lewis Boulevard heading towards the Clearview. Still working on that crash. If you're traveling southbound Cross Island heading down towards Northern, and the northbound Cross Island heading up towards the foot of the Frogs Neck Bridge, you have volume there. Look out for more delays in Queens. Northbound Van Wyck heading up towards Roosevelt Avenue and back to City Field. Looks like the traffic heading towards City Field is actually light. Even the Whitestone, usually around this time during not a holiday week, you have the Whitestone, Frogs Neck, and Triber all backed up trying to get to Queens as cars are heading towards Long Island, but not right now, so that's a good deal. One good thing about Labor Day weekend, right? Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Inbound, George Washington Bridge, 20, 25 on the outbound side. The Lincoln Tunnel inbound is around 15, mostly 495 delays. That's 20 on both sides of the Holland. Andre Farrow, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
Now the AccuWeather 4-day forecast with meteorologist Matt Benz.
Nice, terrific weather will continue here for the rest of this Labor Day weekend as we head through this evening and tonight. Sky just clearing out, low 60 here in the city, upper 40s and 50s on most suburbs, so light jacket may be needed here later on tonight. Tomorrow, lots of sun, still a beautiful day, low humidity, high of 78. Monday, Labor Day, looking good. Sunday to partly cloudy with a high down of 78, and still pleasant through Tuesday, sunshine, a few afternoon clouds with a high of 79. Right now, it's 75 degrees in Central Park with a relative humidity at 28%. Repeating, the current temperature is 75, falling down to 60 tonight in Midtown. Meteorologist Matt Benz, a New York's weather station, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
You cannot buy pepper spray online in New York. Unless, of course, you do, because the store doesn't care and mails it to you anyway. Even if you go in person to get it, current law only allows it to be sold at gun stores and select pharmacies. State Senator Jessica Scarcella Spanton has introduced a bill in Albany to change that and make it easier for people to buy pepper spray, telling 1010 Wins.
I want people to feel safe when they're out and about, and if this is going to make them feel safe, I think it's an important thing that we actually do it and get it over the finish line.
She says this is not a partisan issue, and she has not heard any opposition to her proposal, which is still in committee. The goal is to get it approved during the next legislative session. Beaches along the East Coast have been under advisories this Labor Day weekend, warning about water quality because of elevated levels of bacteria associated with fecal waste. John Rumpler is Clean Water Director at Environment America.
Nobody wants to be swimming in poopy water. Waste, either animal waste or human waste, contains pathogens, parasites, viruses of various kinds that can make us sick.
He says a key reason for the elevated levels, outdated water and sewer systems that allow contamination from sewage to reach the places where people swim. New details in the arrest of a man from Seattle in connection with at least one in a series of violent celebrity home invasion robberies.
Police arresting 29-year-old Patrick Masonette. In June, police believe Masonette and an accomplice targeted the rapper Macklemore's home, alleging the two men made off with bags filled with watches, shoes, and jewelry. Authorities now saying they found many of those jewels after they raided a pawn shop. The arrest happening just after prosecutors charged another man with the burglary of the homes of former Seattle professional athletes, including what appears to be an attempted burglary at the home of Mariners Hall of Famer Edgar Martinez.
Jacqueline Lee reporting. A forgetful man from Maryland turned a mistake into $1 million win. Lotto officials say he brought two identical Powerball double play tickets for the same drawing, each worth $500,000. He realized this only after returning home from a trip and found both tickets had hit. The man says he told his wife they were $500,000 richer, then quickly corrected himself, saying it was actually $1 million. He plans to share the winnings with his kids and grandkids. Lady Gaga will perform at the Video Music Awards. She's up for a lot of them, too. That's next in 1010 Wins Entertainment on 92.3 FM. In 1010 Wins Entertainment, Lady Gaga is leading the way at this year's MTV Video Music Awards, topping all nominees with 12, including Artist of the Year and Best Album for Mayhem. She's also going to perform her first VMA stage appearance since 2020. The show will be live September 7th from the UBS Arena on Long Island. LL Cool J will host. Post Malone among the performers with Doja Cat, Jelly Roll, Tate McRae, and Ricky Martin, who will receive the first ever Latin Icon Award. Mariah Carey will be honored with this year's Video Vanguard Award.
Some of what I would tell you is fact. Some is not, but it is all true.
Guillermo del Toro bringing his long-awaited Frankenstein to Venice. The film stars Oscar Isaac as Victor Frankenstein and Jacob Elordi as the monster. It premieres today at the Venice Film Festival. Del Toro calls it the movie he's been preparing to make for 30 years. His last Venice entry, The Shape of Water, went on to win the Oscar for Best Picture. Frankenstein will be in theaters October 17th. It'll stream on Netflix November 7th.
Entertainment on 1010 Wins.
From the Nautical Mile in Freeport to the summer homes on Fire Island, we're Long Island's all-news station.
The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Sunny, 75 degrees. It's 4:40. Good afternoon on the show. Kabbalah, here's what's happening. Several victims are recovering in the Bronx after a shooting and another stabbing in the subway. The West Indian Kitty Carnival happening ahead of Joubert.
It's about heritage. It's about connecting back to our roots.
British celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay is revealing his cancer diagnosis. Israel says it will expand its offensive in an attempt to cripple Hamas this weekend. And it's a good day if you're feeling lucky. The Powerball jackpot's up to $1 billion. Mets Marlins battling it out. Yanks White Sox at 7:10 tonight. AccuWeather says it's very nice all Labor Day weekend. Mainly clear skies tonight, down to 60. Tomorrow, lots of sun, still beautiful with low humidity up to 78. Wins News Time, 441. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Andre Farrow.
There's been lots going on at the Kosciuszko today, and now we have another issue. It's the westbound ramp from the LIE to bring you onto the Kosciuszko. There's a disabled van there, and that's what's causing that extra slowdown. And then eastbound across the Kosciuszko, as you pass the Williamsburg, heading up towards that area of McGinnis Boulevard, we have a disabled vehicle there, and delays that go back to Flushing Avenue. The Brooklyn Bridge, Brooklyn bound, is very slow, and the FDR in Manhattan, you're